How has your meaning of success, either in the business or your definition of success for yourself, changed since the Kill 'Em All days?
Back in the Kill 'Em All days, my idea of success was, being able to sell 30,000 albums and being able to do a club tour across the states, because my main focus at that time was just to get out of my environment, and get out of California and do some traveling while I was, playing some good music and having fun. And at that point, I had been playing clubs for only like a couple years, and I was perfectly happy with just playing clubs. I wasn't saturated or sick of it at that point. And, when Kill 'Em All first came out, I thought that we had a slight chance of achieving that, if we just worked hard enough. As time went on and I actually started seeing some money, which wasn't like a good 3 or 4 years after Kill 'Em All came out, I actually didn't start seeing any money till Garage Days. I was just happy to be able to pay the rent, and everything else was gravy. And, as long as I was able to just, survive and pay, pay my living expenses, I was happy. I mean, we were making great music, and that was the other side of it. I mean, it's always been a goal of mine to just create great music and be creatively satisfied. And to this day, I mean, that still is a goal, is to just go in there and make music that I'm happy with, and that's satisfying for me to play and listen to. And the financial side of things, I mean, that's always tricky. I never tried to have too much expectations on the financial side of things, or the more materialistic side of things, because the simpler things are for me, the better. And when I actually did start making money, I realized that my life got a lot more complicated. We don't make as much money as we used to, and I'm actually fine with that. Though if someone said, well, here's $50 million, I wouldn't walk away from it. But I mean, that has never been and still isn't my main motivation for doing this. Any one of us could retire and lead a somewhat comfortable life, but the drive comes from just playing music together and playing shows together, and knowing that we're being of some sort of service to people, playing the music that we enjoy, and that they hopefully enjoy too. I mean, that to me is success. Being creatively satisfied, and knowing that other people are being satisfied by it as well.
As for recording or working on new material on the road, do you have set times to play together? I know you have the Tuning and Attitude room over there, so you have a mobile studio. Do you have set times that you guys play together? Is it spur of the moment, or how exactly does that all happen? Is there new material coming about on the road? Or
There's tons of new material. I was just thinking about it yesterday. What we do is we go into the tuning room, and we usually start warming up, whether that consists of like running through new songs or just running through songs that are already in the set. Lars will start a beat, and then James will start a riff, or I'll start a riff, and then all of a sudden we all kind of join in on it. And next thing you know, we have a piece of music, and it gets filed away. A lot of times, we'll just jam and just a bunch of noise comes out, it just doesn't really sound like much of anything. But we don't really set any times on anything like that. We've been relying on the spontaneity factor more so these days, more than anything, especially on tour. If a riff comes up, great, jump on it. If it doesn't, no sweat. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of these on tour jams, because you get into such a musical mindset while you're on tour. You're playing well, you have music on your mind, and you're just so engrossed in the music making process that anything can happen musically. And it's pretty cool that we have this stash of music that's come pretty effortlessly because in the past there's been a lot of blood and sweat and tears that have gone into making music, and I think we're not that interested in pursuing that route. I think this is a much more pure approach, just leaving it all to spontaneity and inspiration. Actually, I can call all that inspiration, and we'll see where it leads us at the end of the tour when we go back into the studio.
In just over a year, how has Robert Trujillo changed Metallica?
He's changed us tremendously. He's a man who is just so grounded, and he loves to step up, using his words. That's his phrase, step up. He loves challenges, and his enthusiasm for everything is kind of rubbed off on us. And I see myself stepping up because I recognize the moment to step up, and that's all because of Rob. And he has such a positive attitude, and I love that in people, because again, it's infectious. It can't not rub off on us. And he's so dependable as a person and as a musician, and he's so solid on stage. He just adds a lot of color to our lives. He's just such a beautiful cat, man. I love him. I feel like he's been in the band for ages, years and years and years. It certainly feels like that.
I get the feeling that, obviously Metallica's like 4 diverse personalities, but I get the feeling like here's Lars and James who are sort of like, crazy, high stress, maybe a little high strung every now and then you two seem like you're like the more mellow, it's like a balance between, he's on that side and Lars and James are on this side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a lot more even keeled. I mean, his personality is similar to mine in that respect, whereas, we're not so much control freaks, and we're willing to get the job done whether or not it feeds our egos or not. I think that's important in this band because there's such a dynamic working there that, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to reach the goal. Rob is very like-minded in that sense. He respects the fact that we like to work, and he totally respects the fact that we're willing to obligate ourselves and overcommit ourselves to the 100th degree. But he also understands that, he understands that drive, and he can relate to that drive, and that works well when you have different personalities. It works well that you can just step in and just blend and become a part of the atmosphere.
The Good, the Mad, and the Ugly. Can you give us a brief overview of the book? What you know?
Yeah, it's a compilation of the last 10 years of our fan club magazine called So What, and it's interesting because over the last 10 years, we've changed a lot in appearance, in attitude, how we sound. And it kind of chronicles all those changes. I mean, you open up the book, and the first few pages has us looking a certain way. At the rear of the book, we're a completely different band, literally. I mean, a completely different band by the end of it. And I think it's kind of neat in that respect. One can, if one does not know of the last 10 years of Metallica, they can pick this book up and get a pretty in-depth look about, what we're all about, what we constitute. We had a tendency to open ourselves up a little bit more to our fan club members through our magazine. And a lot of the interviews that were conducted in the magazine went a little bit deeper than your normal music magazine or media magazine or whatever. You're getting a little bit more by reading these articles. The great thing about it is we've had a chance to comment on certain interviews, certain things in the book from this perspective, from today's perspective. To me, that's an added bonus because you get to hear what our thoughts are on Metallica in 94, 95, 96, whatever. There's also a lot of like family portraits, a lot of personal pictures that you wouldn't find anywhere else, and a lot of intimate moments within the band or outside the band's lives. My dogs are featured prominently in the book. There's also a sense of humor that comes across in the book that you wouldn't normally find.
What do you think will surprise the fans the most once they see the movie Some Kind of Monster when it comes out in July? What will surprise them the most about Metallica?
That we have the same problems everyone else does, man. The mighty Metallica is only mighty to a bit. We're susceptible to all the same problems everyone else has. The movie depicts a very humanistic picture of the band in that regard. It's very intimate. After a while, I forgot the cameras were there. I got so used to the boom being there. It was just the boom. The boom was like a plant, or a bookshelf or a picture on the wall. It shows a lot of intimate moments between us that make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I think the story needs to be told, because I think the picture can help people in that respect. And maybe, help other bands who are maybe going through the same thing. It's a warts and all depiction. I mean, if I would have known this was going to be a movie with a theatrical release being seen all over the world, I would have at least taken a shower, at least once a week. Because every time you see me, I have just greasy ass hair. I'm in sweats, and a lot of times I just got back from surfing and I have like salt water in my hair, and it's just.
How hard was it, not only going through the group therapy, but the fact that the cameras were there? I mean, did that make it that much harder to open up and...
No. If anything, man, it made you tell the truth more. You couldn't backtrack. You couldn't revise yourself. For me, I just shut them out, and I just half the time I forgot they were there, half the time I ignored them. Half the time, I wasn't conscious of the fact that they were there. The thing you have to remember is that the cameras were always behind us. They were never really in our direct line of sight. And as we were getting into it, getting deeper into whatever we were doing, we get so involved in a certain aspect or a certain moment. The last thing you were thinking of was what's sitting behind you, whether it was writing lyrics or trying to make a connection with the other guys in the band, or arguments or whatever. I mean, in the heat of the moment, you're just more preoccupied with what you're dealing with at that time. And a lot of the times, things would go down, I'd say things, or things would be said, and then maybe an hour or two later, I go, holy shit, I wonder if the cameras caught that. I hope not. But, like I said before, I mean, it's all part of the story, and the story needs to be told, and it's a very honest depiction, and the cameras caught us in all our while our guards were down. And, cameras will do that because they don't blink, They don't get distracted. They catch everything. I'm a little worried about that because I'm a very private person. I always draw a line as to what I choose to let people know about me. I forgot about that line a lot during the filming of the movie. So I'm a little nervous about this movie once it comes out. But it's honest, and it's the truth, and I think there's a lot of power in the truth, and like I said, the story needs to be told. If it helps people, then it was all worth it,
Comment on this quote that was in the documentary from manager Cliff Bernstein. Quote unquote, "You guys have spent all this time to come back and find yourselves."
Yeah, truer words were never said. Cliff's a man of wisdom and knowledge. We had to experience all this to just strengthen ourselves. We're at such a point of weakness. Personally as well as musically. Whatever comes first, musically as well as personally. I mean, our personalities mirrored the music. The situation our personalities were in with each other mirrored the music. The stronger we made a reconnection, and the stronger our bonds became, the stronger the music became, and there was, I feel, a direct correlation there. And if you see the movie, and if you see the progression, there's a very obvious vein there that's being tapped. And over the course of the movie, we're tapping into the vein more and more and more. And at the end of it, we had the album out, and we just felt so good, and we felt so good about each other. It all just felt very, very right. And we had to go through so much shit and so much fog and so many obstacles just to reach a clearer plateau. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with that. We really did have to go through a lot just to rediscover ourselves.
Regarding the bootlegs that are now available on this tour, let me get your take on this quote I found from a fan online. It's nice to see Metallica taking steps to further please their fans instead of fighting the no-way-out war of going after the file traders.
We've always let people come to tape our shows. I mean, we had the taper section, at a lot of our shows. We've always encouraged people to tape the shows. We just want to maintain some sort of control about what goes out there, and it's all been about maintaining that control. We're still fighting this battle. I don't see it as a no way out battle. I still see it as something worth standing up for, and we still believe in it wholeheartedly. And just because we've enabled shows to be downloadable on the web does not mean in any way whatsoever that we've changed our stance or we've softened our position at all. So I mean, I really have to disagree with that statement. Copyrights are copyrights, and I believe that they should be respected. I think that the artists, should retain total control over what they produce. If not, it's going to turn into total chaos, and a lot of people don't understand that or don't have the depth of comprehension to understand that, because, I mean, the internet is huge. I mean, it's a big picture, and a lot of people don't see the big picture and how it can turn out. People have to be accountable and be responsible for what they do with their music, and how they treat artists, and how artists treat other artists, and how artists treat their product. And so I mean, I really have to say that I think that that's a real non-truth there, that statement.
A lot of people are coming around now too, saying they may have been against all that and against you guys, saying, "Holy shit, Lars was right."
Yeah,
it took them a while, but now that's coming around, and the internet's becoming so much bigger. Like you say, they're coming around saying, "Holy shit, they were right." Hate to say I told you so,
Yeah, I mean, you really have to look at the big picture. I mean, at the end of the day, no one suffers except for the artist. And if the artist suffers, his art and creativity suffer, and it lowers the quality of music. I mean, music is such a sacred thing, and it's such a personal thing. And when you take that personability away, then it becomes a commodity. Or something, or to give away like a flyer or a freebie or something, and it becomes almost worthless. Music has a lot of worth, and it should be respected. It's also a resource for people to be able to create and to continue to create. You can't dry up those resources, or else at the end of the day, the artist ends up hurting, and it certainly isn't the big corporations. The big corporations will always find another way to get some sort of resource or whatever. I mean, their bottom line really doesn't get affected, because they'll circumnavigate that like they always have in the past. But it's the individual that really has a lot to lose.
Madly in Anger at the World Tour. Were there some other possible names, and if so, what were they? What was the brainstorming method and steps behind naming the tour?
The one obvious name obviously, from the lyric "Madly in Anger with You." Yeah, we are all in our own separate ways, madly in anger with the world, or else we wouldn't be here right now. I can't really think of any other good names that were thrown around other than that one. And that one seemed like just the most obvious one for this tour. It's a mouthful.
I noticed that you're playing Metallica songs that are rarely ever touched live on this tour. Two-part question. What's the reason for not playing them before, and what's the reason behind playing them now on the Madly in Anger at the World Tour?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why we're playing some of these songs is because we wanted to just shake it up again, I personally was not interested in going out there and playing the same set over and over and letting the robot take over in me. I think that's potentially harming to the overall performance, and it makes the band look bad, when you can tell that someone is just playing the same thing in the same sequence for the 150th time. At least that's what it seemed like to me on previous tours, and there's no way that I could do that again. And we pretty much all felt that way. We thought, well, I think we all thought that it was important to be able to change the set every night, and that kind of went hand in hand with this poll that we put online that was available to our fan club members, and that poll was. What songs would you like Metallica to play the most, out of all, a list of songs, a long list of songs. Dyer's Eve came up number one. And that was a song that we just never really considered playing live for the entire Injustice for All tour. It started rearing its head when people noticed that we stopped, or we never played it live, It started getting a lot of attention. We're giving lame-ass excuses like, oh, it's too fast, or, oh, we forgot how to play it, or it's too complicated, or whatever. And over the years, this kind of myth grew around that song. It kind of spread throughout the fan club members and our audience in general. We kind of caved in under pressure to start playing that song, and so we tackled it. We actually broke the ice on it during the Summer Sanitarium tour. We just teased the audience with just the intro, but we never really went into the meat of the song. We decided, hell, let's give it a try one night, and we did at the start of this tour, and we found out that it was a great song to play. The unspoken thought was, well, if we can play that song, why can't we bring out other songs that we hardly ever touch? We started to just explore that, and we found out that we can play just about any of our old songs nowadays. We're all playing really, really well, and to follow Rob's catchphrase, we're stepping up to those challenges. With changing the set list every night, it's an incredible challenge because a lot of times, we're playing songs that we haven't played like 10, 15 years. The other night we played Jump in the Fire, and the last time we played that was in 1984. Not only did we play that, but we transposed the entire song a half step down from G to F sharp, which actually made it heavier and more fun to play because you can get a lot more chunk that way. We're discovering all these cool things with breaking out all these songs that we wouldn't normally play. But, I mean, by the same token, it's a great challenge for us every night. It keeps us on our toes, The fans obviously love it, especially the fans who follow us around, knowing that they'll get a different show every night. It's great for the website, the livemetallica.com, in that, every download every downloaded concert will be different. And it's great for us because we enjoy playing a different show every night. It takes all the tedium of playing live and just throws it out the window because we never know what the show is going to be like because, if we have 4 or 5 new songs in the set, it's going to change the whole dynamic of the show. sometimes we kind of push the limits, and sometimes we're a bit ambitious in that, we'll put in 4 songs that we haven't played in like 10 years, and like I'm struggling to remember all the arrangements and guitar solos, and half the time I have to write a little cheat sheet of the arrangement out and tape it on the stage. But 9 times out of 10, we nail it, and we've surprised ourselves a lot on this tour in that, a song like Jump in the Fire, haven't played in 20 years, we fucking nailed it on stage. We nailed it. That's good for our overall confidence. And to me, it tells me that somehow, some way, after doing this for 21 years, somehow we're getting better. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Rob's in the band, and he loves the challenge, and him stepping up is challenging us to step up, like I said earlier, and it's just a great catalyst for us to keep us on our toes and keep us alive, really.
Can you compare the scenarios of Backstage at a Metallica concert in the 1980s compared to like the Madly in Anger at You World Tour? The Madly in Anger at You World Tour.
Apples and oranges. And you have to understand, in the 80s, we're new to the game. We're exploring the rock and roll lifestyle to its fullest. The sex, drugs, and rock and roll cliche was lived out every single night to its fullest. We're seeing, how far we can push it, and we're seeing, what else was out there that we can experience. It was just a constant quest for new experience, really, because we were all very fresh and new. We weren't jaded. In the 90s, we were a bit hip to what was going on, and the jadedness started to settle in. Things got a little bit more decadent, things got a little bit more debaucherous. We pushed it a little bit farther, sometimes pushing it too far. There's been definitely incidents where all of us pushed it too far, and I might go as far as saying too far. But now in this century, things have mellowed out a lot more. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we're a bit more mature. We're veterans at this now. We're all a bit more responsible. We all have families. We have people to answer to. Back then, we didn't have that many people to answer to, but now we have people to answer to. I.e., our wives and families. And things are a lot more even keel nowadays, and I'm used to just kind of handing over the gauntlet to younger bands like Godsmack and watching them have fun with it, because I can tell it's still very new with them, and they're just living the rock and roll lifestyle to the fullest. And I'm fine just living that vicariously through them, because I know how it tastes, I know how it feels, and that's enough for me. I actually have better things to do with my time now, really. I mean, my interests have gone somewhere else. I'm just more interested in doing other things after the show, really, like playing my guitar, reading a lot. I do a lot of yoga. I'm very spiritual. Those are things I like to pursue in my off time, and those are things that I like to pursue on the road as well. And the rock and roll lifestyle is okay to visit once in a while, maybe once a month or something, but not too deeply, But it's I get comfort knowing that it's there anytime I want.
I hear you have a bit of a shoe fetish. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I love shoes, It's weird because, my shoe fetish has changed, but it's remained a fetish nonetheless. A few years ago, it was hard black shoes. And now it's more towards athletic shoes and a recreational type of shoe wear, beach wear. I have a million sandals and slippers, and I'm constantly looking for athletic shoe wear, your Pumas, your Nikes. Yeah, those are nice.
Old school Adidas.
Yeah, old school Adidas. Man, I found this pair of shoes that reminded me of Adidas Tobaccos. Remember them? I don't know if you remember them or not. They came out in the 70s. And I just fell in love with them. Had to buy them right away because they reminded me of a shoe that I had when I was 14 years old. And these all leather black Pumas I have wearing right now, they're just like the best. That's like the best looking shoe to me right there, right now. It's good with just about anything, Sweats, Levi's, slacks, whatever. Yeah, I do have a shoe fetish. And if you saw my army of shoes, you'd call me Imelda.
I hear you also have breakfast skills. Can you tell me about the time you cooked breakfast for Johnny Ramone?
Johnny Ramone and I were pretty good friends, and we both share a passion for collecting movie posters, horror movie posters, and I used to call him in the morning, and I'd say, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm just cooking up some pancakes." And I said, "Yeah, me too, Johnny. I'm cooking pancakes too," and that became a running joke with him and I. I'd call him up, and we'd both be cooking pancakes, and then it got to the point where I started trading pancake recipes or techniques with him. And one day he said, "I'm not getting it right, Kirk. Something's wrong. I know it's not turning out right just like I wanted to." And I said, "Johnny, I'll come over. I'll cook you some pancakes, and I'll show you how it's done." And that kind of started something, right? We whenever I go over there, I try to cook him some pancakes, and but actually, when I think about it, we've both been on diets, and so nowadays we don't eat pancakes, neither one of us. But yeah, I used to cook breakfast for the guys at HQ. That was before we all went on diets. We all went on diets collectively, and now we all just eat the same thing for
Egg
breakfast.
whites.
No, not even that.
Really?
Fruit smoothies. Every one of us loves a fruit smoothie in the morning. It's healthy and, it's just, fat-free.
What's your favorite song to play live? What do you enjoy the most when you're up on stage playing? Which song?
Well, I mean, I really enjoy playing all of our songs, and I feel so lucky that I can actually say that because, you hear about other artists just dreading playing their music because they've just, they just burn out on it. But all our songs are just so fun to play as a guitar player. God, I really enjoy playing No Leaf Clover. It's relatively new to the set. I really enjoy playing Jump in the Fire now that we're playing it in F sharp rather than G. It's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy playing Frantic. I think it's a great song to play. I really have fun playing that. Of course, I like playing Dyer's Eve because it's a challenge, and every time we play it, every time I play that guitar solo and I pull it off, I'm like, yeah, I did it again, because it's a really difficult guitar solo for me to play. I love playing Blackened as well. I love playing Seek and Destroy. I love playing Sanitarium.
All of them.
I fucking love all of them, man. I really do. And I think that's why I enjoy touring so much. So I love getting on stage, playing these great fucking kick-ass songs that we've created, and I love seeing people react to them, in the same way I react to them. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I feel so fortunate in that way.
So many people miss the fact that Creeping Death is a Bible story.
Yeah.
And what influenced that song?
The Ten Commandments, the movie. There was a scene there. It was one of the plagues that were put upon the pharaohs. You can actually see in the movie this green fog that kind of floats over the ground, killing all the firstborn sons of the pharaoh. Oh no. Killing, all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians, and that was Creeping Death. James saw that and called it Creeping Death, and hence, the title. It's Kirk, and this is a mandatory Maytallica moment, people. Yo, it's Kirk, and it's another mandatory Maytallica moment. What's up, This is Kirk from Metallica. Keep it here for the next mandatory Metallica moment, man. Yo, it's Kirk. Stay tuned for another mandatory Maytallica moment. It's Kirk from Metallica. And get ready to rock with Metallica, man. The 2004 Madly in Anger with the World Tour. The 2004 Madly in Anger with the World Tour. Tickets are on sale this Saturday at 10 a.m. at 12 noon. Yo, tickets are on sale now. And now, a second show has been added. Keep it right here for your Metallica ticket hookup. This is mandatory Metallica. This is a mandatory Metallica moment. What's up? This is Kirk from Metallica. Keep it here for the next mandatory Metallica moment. Stay tuned for another mandatory Metallica moment, motherfuckers. All month, it's mandatory Metallica. All weekend? All week. Yo, keep it here to score your ticket to see Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, on the big screen. Some Kind of Monster is in theaters now. Get off your ass and go see it. Metallica rocks the big screen. Only one station can send you to see Metallica on the big screen. It's Kirk. And happy holidays from all of us at Metallica. What's up? This is Kirk from Metallica. Keep it here for the next mandatory Metallica moment, man.